starts changing. Oh, I'm gonna worship till I mean every word. 'Cause the way I feel and the fear I'm facing doesn't change who you are or what you deserve. Come on. I give you my worship, you still deserve it. You're worthy, you're worthy, you're worthy of my song. I pour out your praises in blessing and breaking. You're worthy, you're worthy, you're worthy of my song. Yes, you are, Jesus. You are, you're worthy, you're worthy. You are worthy. Oh, I'm gonna live like my King is risen. Gonna preach to my soul that you've already won. And even though I can't see it, I'm gonna keep believing that every promise you made is as good as done. Come on, sing it, yeah. I give you my worship, you still deserve it. You're worthy, you're worthy, you're worthy of my song. I pour out your praises in blessing and breaking. You're worthy, you're worthy, Jesus, you're worthy of my song. You're worthy, you're worthy. I'll sing for Jesus, you're worthy of my song. You're worthy, you're worthy, Jesus, you're worthy of my song. You're worthy, you're worthy, Jesus, you're worthy of my song. You're worthy, oh, you're worthy. When I sat by that hospital bed, you were worthy, and she could barely lift her head. You were worthy. After all those tears were shed, you were worthy. I never stopped singing your praise. No, I never stopped singing your praise. The blessing and the pain, you are worthy. Whether you say yes or no, or wait, you are worthy. And through it all, I choose to say, you are worthy. I'll never stop singing your praise. I'll never stop singing your praise. When I
He's worthy of my song. He's worthy of all my praise. He's worthy of all that I can give him. Good evening, New Season Gospel FM families, and welcome to another episode of Faith Matters with me, Mnena. It is always a pleasure to come on and reflect with you all. Um, our the joys of our daily Christian walk, the trials, the struggles, the just the adventures of being Christ-like. I hope that you are all doing well, that your week is off to an amazing start. Thank you so much for coming on this evening. Good evening, Sister Marcia. Thank you for joining. Good evening, Sister Marcia. I haven't seen you in a long time. I hope you're well. I'm glad that you're on this evening. I hope Brother Damien's doing well. Thank you again for coming on. Take the time to invite someone or share the broadcast with someone. There might be one or two nuggets that might be beneficial, that might be conversation starters. Somebody might just be able to grab one thing and run with from the show. But again, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate you all for taking the time out of your busy schedules to spend just this few moments of reflection with me. So again, I appreciate you. Faith Matters is a platform where I reflect on our daily Christian walk, how we're being Christ's hands and feet. I share mostly from my reflection pages, just things that happen to me on my daily walk, and I vent, and I just pretty much come here to just really share with you. A lot of the things, or some of the things that I say or share, might resonate with you. So I'm really hopeful that you do get something out of this. Yes. Thank you, Sister Marcia. I appreciate you for making the effort, taking the time, for just being a wonderful supporter of the radio station in general, because you're always there for us for all the different programming. So we really do appreciate you for what you do. Again, thank you for coming on. Jumping right into it, today is the 239th day of the year. It just simply means that we only have 127 days left. It This year, again, it's beginning to sound like a broken record at this point. It's really going by quickly. We're already in August. This is the first week in August. Where are you at? Can you really say that you're happy and comfortable with your progress so far, or your growth so far, from the time the year started? Hopefully, you could say yes to that, or maybe not so much, but just to remember that it's never too late to start. It's never too late to make a turnaround. It's never too late to just change the trajectory of where things are for you. I think if you're in that category that is, that kind of realizes that you're not moving at the pace you want, or you're not really doing anything at all, or you're not pushing yourself as you should, you're not happy with where you're at right now, that's a good thing. I believe it's a good thing. At least to come to that realization that I could be further than I am right now, but I'm not there. And again, this is if you realize and recognize that you are actually the reason why you haven't made the progress that you're supposed to be making. Because a lot of times we are our own stumbling blocks. We're our own worst critics. We're our own. We self sabotage quite a bit, and so it's really important. But recognizing that I'm the problem, or I'm the reason why I'm not where I should be, or progressing as I should, is an important step to really getting there. So take stock to see where you're at this point in the year, and keep going. If you've made progress, if you've seen that you're doing great, but you haven't really gotten to where you're at, that's fine. The joy is in the process. Just really enjoying the process. Pat yourself on the back and be like, you know what, I'm doing great. I think it's a great thing to just really recognize when you're making those strides, when you're taking those strides, and encourage yourself as you go along. And so if you're that person, give yourself a pat on the back and say, hey, I'm doing great. It's going really well. I didn't quit, or I haven't quit yet, regardless of, the challenges that are coming my way. So that's my take on that. And that's just my encouragement to you to not give up, to just really keep moving. And if you're in that category of, you've self-sabotaged, or you haven't really put in your all to be where you should be, then you need to get on it. You need to push yourself to get where you need to be. So we're in August, like I said. August is Happiness Happens month. I think this should be like an everyday or an every month kind of thing, to just cultivate that attitude of happiness, to cultivate that, having joy in our lives. I know it's easier said than done, because life happens. We're going through the stresses in life, and sometimes we don't always feel cheerful. We don't always feel as though there's anything to be happy about. Hey, yeah, yeah. A lot of times we don't feel that way, and that's fine. It's all a part of life. But you could still be happy, you could still be joyous in the midst of your storm, in the midst of the trials, in the midst of the stresses that you're going through or you're dealing with. You could still be happy. You can choose joy over those. The fact that you choose that, or you have that in you, doesn't really mean that in that moment you're like, hey, you're smiling and laughing your head off at that moment. But it just means that when you think about it, when you look at the great at things, in a broader sense, you feel that, or you decide that, okay, happiness is what I'm thriving on, or what I should thrive on, because there's so many blessings that I'm enjoying, or so many things that I've enjoyed in my life, so many blessings that have come my way. So even in that temporary moment where I'm not feeling as I should feel, I still have joy inside of me, and I can still, in some ways, channel that joy, or to in that moment of my not feeling so great, or feeling a little down, channel that to just some of the areas, so you don't really dwell in that moment of sadness, for lack of a better word, that moment of not feeling it, that moment of feeling down. You don't dwell so much on that moment, but you think about you think happy thoughts. You think about blessings, and then you start to feel better, and you start to say, okay, I'm going to think more about that, and I'm going to thrive on that. So happiness happens. I think this should be every single day. It should be an every month thing, not just something we celebrate or try to celebrate in April. It should be every single month, every single day. We should strive for this. Family Fun Month, I think this is really important. Just having fun together as a family. The family is really an important unit, and I know the enemy right now is out for families, because the family actually is the first church. And so he will try all he can to pull families apart, to destroy families in so many ways. You have you have the psychological fights, you have the physical fights as well, and you just have like so many things that the enemy throws at us. It could be families who are torn apart, families who kids are taken away from them, and you also have families who actually are a close unit. I'm talking about father, mother, kids in the family, but parents don't have time for the kids. They're overworking. Either one spouse is working too much, or both spouses are just working too much, working too hard, to and neglecting their kids, and neglecting that time for family. So Family Fun Month, I think it's really something that we should all strive for. And it should be like an everyday kind of thing. It shouldn't just be something that happens just in the month of August. It should be every single day, every single month. We should strive for this, striving for enjoying family, enjoying one another, And I think this should be every single day. International Peace Month as well, of course. We should keep praying for peace in our world, and this should be every day as well. I don't know why they're just picking these things for just particular months, but I know every month has their own thing. But these are just a few. Of course, today is Monday. It's National Dog Day. I'm a dog lover. Everybody knows that. I'm not shy about saying that. Not a cat person, just a dog person. I love dogs. I don't have one. Because I think it's basically having another child that doesn't grow. But I do love them. I would dog sit for you. At some point, I think I might have one, but when I start thinking about, just how, yeah, it's kind of just gonna be like having a third child, and this one does not grow. I mean, you're gonna be, yeah, no, cleaning up after it, doing, no, no, no. But I do love them. I love dogs. It's Women Equality Day as well. It's Cherry Popsicle Day. Tomorrow is Just Because Day. Just Because Day. So Just Because Day exists, and because it just exists just because. It's a day when people do things without thinking and reasoning. Like, you're not putting too much thought into whatever it is that you're doing. You're like, I'm just going to get up and go, and I'm going to get up and do it. If you're that person who overthinks things like me, like I would think, I would just process and process and process and process things so much that that I end up not doing it. And I'm learning slowly to just kind of not overthink things, and once that thought comes, to just go ahead and and do it. I mean, not saying to go in blindly, but don't overthink it, because there's a danger to overthinking. There's a danger to overanalyzing, because then you end up not doing anything. And I should know, because it happens to me a lot. I do that a lot. And I have a bunch of things that, especially in recent times, where I have just like, oh my gosh, I wish I had just made that decision when I had the opportunity to do so, and not, overthink it and take so much time in analyzing it, and then ending up, missing out on what I wanted to get. So that's that. We just do it. So if you're thinking of something, if you have a plan, you have an idea, just go ahead and do it. Don't overthink it. Go ahead and do it. Good evening, Brother Gary. Thank you for coming on. Good evening, Sister Joylight and Sister Blosset. Thank you all for coming on. It's Banana Lovers Day. So all those banana lovers out there, I think my love for banana is kind of, how some people would say, yeah, I love this fruit, or I love this thing, and it's like, nonstop. Like, you can be certain of that. Like, so for me, bananas is like, okay, I don't know if I should say I have a seasonal love for them. So I would have this craving for them, and I get them, and once that passes, I'm like, okay, yeah, I could go for weeks without bananas, but I do love bananas. So it's Banana Lovers Day tomorrow. What do you like to do with your bananas? I love to make banana bread with bananas that I end up not eating, because sometimes I would go and I feel like overly what's the word I'm looking for? Like, you feel like, oh, you want to be healthy, you're doing fruits and all of that, and you go and you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go buy all of this, and you buy it and you don't. That's me. I buy, and then sometimes I end up not eating it. So when I have all of those bananas that I haven't eaten, that I just try not to throw them out, I just try to make banana bread. But how much banana bread can you eat? Anyways, so banana lovers out there, gather here, or do something tomorrow with your bananas. Or if you have bananas at home that are going bad, make banana bread, or whatever you want to make with them. It is Touch a Heart Day. This I love. I think it should be every single day, to touch a heart. This is simply just showing kindness. I talk about being kind all the time. There's no day that should go by without you just being or showing that kindness and love to somebody else. So Touch a Heart Day, show an act of kindness, and it could be anything, just a thought, a word. It could be a hug. It could just be a listening ear. Whatever it is. Touch a Heart Day. Rock, paper, scissors day. How many of us? Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. So Rock, paper, scissors day on Tuesday. Again, Wednesday is Crackers Over the Keyboard Day. Okay, these are holidays. Of course, you guys know these are weird holidays. Some Yeah, some are weird, some are weird, quirky, some are, just really nice holidays that we sometimes know about, sometimes we don't, but we can actually just have fun with and roll about in our days. So this one, I think, is one of my weird ones, is Crackers Over the Keyboard Day. Again, I don't know who thinks about these things, but apparently you sit at your computer, and it's like, okay, don't be afraid to eat your crackers or cookies without making a mess, because those crumbs will fall on the keyboards, right? And that's really annoying. But this holiday is kind of saying, you know what, go ahead and do that. Nobody cares. Just go ahead and eat over your keyboard. Please don't do that. That's weird. Because you're gonna make a mess, and then you're gonna have like ants, and okay, let's stop. So yeah, we're not doing that. Read comics in public day. Read comics in public day. If you love comics, Wednesday is the day to do so. Read them. National Thoughtful Day. I think this is important. Thursday is Individual Rights Day. It's Lemon Juice Day. If you love lemon juice, okay. I would say lemonade. More herbs, less salt day. It's important for us to eat more herbs, put more herbs in our foods and our cooking. Eat less salt, because it promotes good health. Thoughtful Thursday as well. Friday, I love this one as well. Forgive Your Foe Day. I talk about forgiveness quite a bit. I think one of these days I'm gonna dedicate a show just to forgiveness. Forgive Your Foe Day. This should be every single day, because we have yeah, people hurt us a lot, and we have feelings. We're going through stuff, and sometimes we're like, oh, this person is, just really has done this to me, has done me wrong. But I think we need to forgive. So Forgive Your Foe Day on Friday. Again, this should be every single day. It shouldn't just be on Friday. Whale Shark Day, Beach Day, Grief Awareness Day, Holistic Pet Day. This is basically just talking about the holistic health of your pet. Toasted Marshmallow Day. I'm not big on marshmallows, so I'll pass on that. Slinky Day as well. So those are just my holidays for the week. Again, I just think it's fun to think about them, and I think it's fun that every day has something. So it's really important. Well, something to just have fun with, like to see what you can do in a day. So for those of you who have time, are like, oh yeah, I don't know what to do today, but okay, let me do this. Today's a day to give a heart, or today's a day to forgive a foe, and then you run with that. So yeah, I agree. I don't have time to carry on forgive. Oh, that is true. Unforgiveness is it's quite a heavy baggage to be hauling around. So it's by all means, let it go. Travel light. There's nothing as important as traveling light. Don't put yourself in that box. Don't put yourself in that jail cell, because the person is literally moving on with their lives, but you're there harboring that feeling, that ill feeling, that unforgiveness towards them. And it's also, there's actually health benefits that there's a correlation between unforgiveness and your health, like your actual physical health. Again, we'll get to that. I think one of these shows, one of these days, I'll do something, a show on that, entirely dedicated to that. And so those are just the holidays. Finding your God-given purpose, discovering your spiritual gifts and calling. I say all the time, like, sometimes we're in this life, we're in this world for a purpose. We've been created for a purpose. You're not just here, just breathing, this God-given air, and you're just not existing. You're here because God has a plan and a purpose for you. Sometimes we do not recognize that purpose. Sometimes we don't know. Sometimes we're trying to find it out. We're just trying to figure it out as we go along. However it is, whatever your situation is, whether you know, whether you don't know, whether you're walking it or you're living it or you're not, or if you've abandoned it, you still know. We still know that each and every one of us has been has been put here, has been placed here with a plan and a purpose. So discovering your spiritual gifts and calling, and today it's just an inspiring topic, just finding that God-given purpose and discovering those gifts, and just recognizing the gifts and the calling that you have. We all have unique roles that God has given us in the grand, scheme of things, and on this world, and really understanding this can really bring um, fulfillment in our lives, just in the direction of how we live our lives and how we carry on. So the first thing is just really understanding God's purpose, understanding that we are not just existing here. We're understanding that we've been created with a purpose. And a reminder for us about this is found in Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. So this particular verse is really reminds us, it reassures us that God has a specific plan for each of us. So finding our purpose just really involves seeking God diligently through prayer, studying His Word, engaging with, just with our community, our faith community. So when you seek God, if you seek God through just getting into His Word, going to church, finding yourself, surrounding yourself with people who will encourage you, who you can learn with, who you can grow with, and just having that engagement with others. And so remember that you can only get to where you need to get to. You can only really live out fully your purpose, recognize your purpose, and live it out fully by just really seeking God and understanding fully having that intimate relationship with Him in order to understand fully what you're here for. Because believe you me, once you establish that relationship, when you start communicating with Him, when you start living out with others in the faith and growing in the faith, you can hear clearly and you can see clearly and just really be able to discern exactly what His plan and His purpose for you is. The story is told of someone who who just felt lost in their career, right? And after a period of prayer and seeking God's face, he realized that his passion for helping, his passion for helping others, and he transitioned to a career in social work. So and that person today really feels fulfilled, that he's making a difference in people's lives. So again, sometimes you find yourself in that that job or that work or that thing that you're doing, and it doesn't really bring you happiness. It doesn't bring you any sort of fulfillment or that feeling of content. You don't have that in where you're at right now. That's kind of one way of really knowing if you're doing what you've been called to do, because you always have that feeling, that joyous feeling inside of you. You feel content. It's not a chore. It's not exhausting for you. It's just something that you just feel, you feel full and happy when you're doing it. To other people it might be, oh my gosh, you have so much, you're doing so much, and they don't really want to see it, but for you, you see that, you feel, you wake up every morning and you are just really joyous to do what you've been called to do. So that's how you can kind of tell if you're really walking in that purpose and that calling that you have, because you can feel that joy, you feel that feeling of a contentment in that role that you're playing. You know that you're making a difference in the lives of people, and that's like, you wake up every morning and you're like, yes, this is what I've been, this is what I was born to do. This is what I've been called to. So it's important for us. I mean, this is something that you could do on your own when you get a chance, but to take some time, and I think you should actually do this like every day if you can, just to get to know exactly if you're walking in that plan, in that purpose that you've been called to. Just take some time to reflect on the passions and the interests God has placed in your heart. So oftentimes, like I said, these are clues to the purpose that He has for you. What are those things that you're really passionate about? What are the things that interest you? are you that person who loves to volunteer at the soup kitchen? Are you that person who, just you're good at talking to people and making them feel good about themselves or feel better? Are you that person who is very patient in listening to others? Like, people can come to you and they feel like, I can tell you everything. I can tell you my whole. Are you that person? So if you're, once you realize, when you find something that really, if you can pinpoint those things that bring you joy, that interest you, that give you that passion, that's a step towards just really recognizing that, okay, this is my purpose. This is what I've been called to do. Because a lot of times people are walking in somebody else's calling. They're not walking in their gifts. They're not thriving in their own gifts because they haven't really paid attention or taken the time to really see, to really see or recognize it, or know if they're walking, if what they're doing is what they've actually been called to do. So it's really important for us to just take some time. So, like I said, you can try to fit it however you want to fit it in your personal life, in your personal growth. If you're that person who has like a chat that if you chart down your stuff, you can say, oh, hey, I'm going to do this, or I'm going to spend like 5 minutes at the end of the day, or when the day starts, whenever you want to do it, however you want to do it. But I think it's important. It's an important practice for us to just really incorporate in our lives, where we take the time to really reflect on our passions and interests. Granted that sometimes passions and interests change, but many times you find out that there's always that underlying thing there that never changes. So once we're able to get to the core of that, then we really kind of discover what our purpose is and what our calling is, and walk in it. So in order to do this too, we also have to remember that we have, and God has given us different gifts to really thrive in our purpose, to thrive in our calling. Every one of us has their own gifts that He has bestowed on us, that He has given us. We're reminded in First Corinthians 12:4-7 that there are different kinds of gifts, but the same Spirit distributes them. There are different kinds of service, but the same Lord. There are different kinds of working, but in all of them and in everyone, it is the same God at work. It is the same God at work. So here we're being reminded that we're all given spiritual gifts to serve, to serve one another, to serve the church, and ultimately God, and to glorify Him, ultimately. And these gifts are they vary, and they're unique to everyone. They're unique to every individual. So your gifts might be different from mine. My gift and might be different from Yes's, might be different from Akil's. So whatever the gifts, that we all have our different gifts that are just unique to us, because He has created us and fashioned us in such a way where He has equipped us with what we need to actually walk in that purpose that He has called us to. So if you start walking in somebody else's calling or in somebody else's purpose, you're not equipped to walk in that purpose. You've abandoned your lane, you've abandoned your purpose, and you're not thriving in the other, in the purpose or the calling that you're walking in, because that's not yours to begin with, because He hasn't equipped you to thrive in that area or in that person's purpose. So the only way that you can really thrive and get to where you need to be, and really make an impact, and live out fully your purpose, is recognizing that purpose that you've been called to and walking in that. Because trust me, like I said, He has equipped us with various gifts, and every gift that He has given you is to help you succeed, to help you thrive in that purpose which He has for you. So just bear that in mind. It's something that we should always remember that we have. So that's one thing. Practical steps to, of course, getting to know what He has called us to, getting to know if we're walking the right path, just what are the practical steps that we can carry on. I mean, these are things that we know, but again, I always say, even though we know things, it's always important, and it's never wasted time or wasted breath when we encourage one another or just continue to hammer things to one another, just as that, just simple nudges and simple reminders, because sometimes we can forget, or sometimes we may not see it in certain lights, or we may not see that or think that, oh, this is worth praying over, this is worth reflecting over, or certain things like that. So the practical steps, of course, this is what we say all the time. Constant prayer, like we have to pray. And prayer is basically just communicating with God. Your communion with God. You're communicating with Him, trying to really get deeper, trying to know Him more, each day. And the only way we can grow, the only way we can know God better, know Him more, and establish and maintain that deep relationship with Him is through prayer, reflection. Of course, prayer. You can pray to Him, seek His face, listen to Him. You have to. That's also an important aspect of prayer. A lot of times we think that it's okay, we're doing the talking, and not really taking the time to listen. But listening as an art of prayer is just something that we really need to cultivate. I need to learn that too. I struggle with that a lot of times because I go into prayer. I'm like, oh God, this is what's going on, and I'm crying, or this is what I want. Or I'm like, I'm also worshiping. Sometimes I would, worship. Oh, you're great, but then I forget that aspect of just really being quiet and listening, because I'm doing the talking, but I'm not letting Him speak. I'm not letting Him talk back. How would you feel if you were having a conversation with someone and you just kept going and going and going, and you never give that person a chance to say anything back to you? And that's exactly how it is most times with a lot of us when we go into prayer, because we're just there and we're like, oh God, we thank you for this day. God, you're worthy. You're awesome. There's no other God like you. We praise you. We do this. And then we're like, God, please forgive me for this sin. Forgive me. I did this. Da, da, da. God, I want this. I want this. I provide for me. Take this person. And we put all of those out there. And as soon as we're done, we're like, okay, God, we ask all of this in Jesus' name, and then that's it, and then we carry on. So what happens? What's happening to that part where we're waiting on the Lord? Can you get that answer? Can we just wait for Him for a second? Can you just catch a breath and be like, okay, let Him speak? So it's important for us to remember to do that. So prayer, that's a practical way or a practical step of us really getting to discover and thrive in the purpose that God has for us. Be open to His leading. Be open to His leading. That's another thing too. You have to be open, because sometimes we say, oh God, we trust you. Where are you taking me to? And He will put you in a path that is the path that He has for you, and that's where you can thrive, or that's where you will thrive. But you're like, oh, I don't want to go down that part, because it's out of your comfort zone, or it's just something that you really don't, in your little mind, you're like, I don't think that's where I should be, because you're trying to play God and you think you know it all. And so being open to His leading is also very important. Receiving feedback from others is also really important. But again, feedback from people who are spiritually able to give that feedback. So you shouldn't be feedback from just any Tom, Dick, and Harry. No, it should be people who are strong in the faith, people who have your back, people who hold you up, and they're able to just encourage you and give you good words, and say, okay, you're doing. So seek that feedback from those who you know well. Spiritually well, because there's a difference between those who are spiritually healthy and those who are just not, who are spiritually unhealthy. And we have all of those people in our lives, let's be honest. And so you have to be spiritually wise to know what counsel you can take, because others will say, the spiritually unhealthy will see you doing something that God has clearly asked you to do, or where God has laid you, and they're like, oh no, don't do that. Yeah, you should not be doing that. I don't think that's for you. So they're not going to really advise you or give you feedback in a way that will help you grow or help you continue on that journey. Whereas somebody else who, of course, is spiritually sound is able to discern exactly where you're going, and they're going to be like, okay, even though it doesn't look, at the way it should look, or the way we think it should look, it doesn't make any sense right now, you should still go because God is leading you. So just, they're going to be there for you and say, okay, keep going, you can do this. So just being mindful of where you're receiving your counsel from. It should be from the spiritually healthy that you're receiving your counsel from, because we do have both spiritually healthy and unhealthy people in our lives. It's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. Spiritual gift assessments. Consider taking a spiritual gift assessment. There's so many. You can find this. Like if your church does that, you can definitely just sit down and take this some questionnaires that you can fill out to know. And all of this is just really asking you questions to really get at the core of what you're passionate about, where your heart lies. A testimony of someone else that discovered their gifts, and I heard this from someone. They said he discovered his passion or his gift for teaching, because he always enjoyed studying the Bible, but it wasn't until he started leading a small group that he realized that teaching was his calling. That's when he realized that teaching was his calling. Good evening, Rev. Thank you for coming on. So getting that testimony from other people is also important, because then it also encourages you, and then you can also see the journey that they're walking, or the path that they walked to get to where they got to. So in this case, I mean, he said he always knew that he had a love for studying the Word, for studying the Bible, but it wasn't until he started having the little group in his house, like just having just those little Bible groups, those conversations, that he realized that, oh wow, I am, my gift is teaching, and so seeing others grow in their spiritual faith, in their walk, in their purpose, is just really it's extremely rewarding to see that. So just remember that these are just practical steps. You're praying, you're getting feedback from others, you're taking your spiritual gifts assessments, and you're getting testimonies from others to help you on the journey. Again, prayer, basic. I mean, I could just close out right now. We could go on that. Prayer just simply means you're communicating with God. It's not a one-way communication. It should be two-way. So you're giving God, you're worshiping, you're exalting Him, you're saying all of that, you're lifting Him high and everything. But then you're taking the time to really listen to what He has to tell you, what He has to say to you. Living out your calling. We're told in Ephesians 2:10 that for we are God's handiwork, created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which God prepared in advance for us to do. Which He prepared in advance for us to do. So living out our calling means just using our spiritual gifts. When you recognize that spiritual gift, that God has placed in you, you really start using it in the service of others, because that's the whole idea. The whole idea is to use your gifts in the service of others and ultimately to glorify God. You're moving in obedience to God's direction, to God's leading. You can't, and it can look different for everyone. Like I said, we all have our different gifts. We all have just each one of us has our gifts which are unique to us, and God has created us. This is another thing to run with as well. He has created each and every one of us with a purpose, and He has given us the gifts that we need, the gifts that are necessary for us to walk and thrive in our own purpose, the purpose that He has created for us. Remember also that a lot of times people are not recognizing, or people are not succeeding because they're not walking in the purpose that God has laid out for them. They're walking in someone else's purpose, or they've chosen like another path, and because they're not thriving in that path or in that purpose that they think is theirs, because they don't have the gifts to walk in that purpose. So each of us has our own gifts that has just specifically been deposited in us to be able to thrive in our own purpose. So simply put, walk in your lane, stay in your lane, stay in your gift, and stay and walk in your purpose. Use your gifts to thrive in your own purpose. If you can't figure it out, you pray. You ask God, please, God, what is my purpose? Show me, reveal my gifts to me. Let me know what you've called me here to do. What is it that I can use this gift? Like, I have this gift. I don't know if it's a gift or not, but I know I'm good at this thing. How can I use this to glorify you? Pray, pray, pray. Seek counsel, seek feedback from spiritually healthy people. Spiritually healthy people. So for instance, in ministry, you're called to full-time ministry. There are people who are being called to, okay, give their lives to God. That's that's the path, that's the calling they have. God has said, you are going to be mine. You're going to be mine in this area. This is where you're serving me. Others are very good in business, so their calling is to start a business and just help others thrive in the business world, the business industry. That's their calling. Others are called to be, creative artists, to write songs, to write scripts, movies, and dramas and things like so. Whatever it is, they're called to inspire people. We're all called to inspire. We're all called to walk in that purpose and serve others with the gifts that have been deposited in us. So what are the action plans that we can take, or what are some steps? Of course, we've said it. I've mentioned some here, which of course are prayer, but practical ways, practical action points that we can take daily without having to feel, okay, this is a spiritual thing we're doing. It is spiritual, but you start small. Begin using your gifts in small ways. Like, if you realize what you realize that you're good at something, like, this is something I'm really good at. You start small if you're not sure, and you start testing it in that way. You start small, maybe within the church. You look for volunteer opportunities where you can actually serve and put those gifts to use, and just see exactly where God's leading you in that moment. Again, still going to hammer on being open to God's leading, be willing to step out of your comfort zone. A lot of us, and I'm guilty of this, sometimes we become so comfortable where we're at that we don't want to be, we don't want to be shaken from that position, that comfortable position where we're at. But meanwhile, God is saying, okay, I'm calling you to this thing, but you can't get to where I'm calling you to, or fulfill that purpose that I have for you, if you remain in that comfortable position. So it might be scary. It might be, scary is the word I'm looking for, lack of a better word. It might be scary, and because you don't know, but it's the only way you can grow. It's the only way you can get to where He's leading you to, or where He's calling you to. Because you cannot achieve that. You cannot fully live out your purpose if you remain in that comfort zone that you don't want to, your little comfort bubble. You don't want to move from that. You don't want to burst out of it. You just want to stay there. That's not growth. You can't grow that way. And a lot of times, and it comes with pains, of course, because sometimes you have to say goodbye to people and things like that. But that's the only way you can grow. That's the way. So just being open to that, being open to seeing where God is taking you to, and how you can walk in that path to achieving to fulfilling that purpose. Continual growth, just having it at the back of your mind that we're constantly growing. So you have to be committed to your spiritual growth, of course, through Bible study. Like, you're reading your Bible, you're getting into those words every single time. The day should never go by without you just really soaking it, God's word, because it's really important. That's the handbook for life. Prayer, can never tire of that. Getting together with others who will, just keep encouraging you to go, to carry on, to keep doing and being who God has called you to be. So remember that we are all unique, and He has a plan for every one of us. There's no one here who's just been put on this earth to just waste air. We've all been placed here. We're still alive today because God has a plan and a purpose, and you haven't fulfilled it. You haven't completed the task that He has for you. Because if your work was done, you would not be here right now. So it's just remembering that there's still a plan and a purpose for you. And recognizing, if you've recognized it, or if you know it and you've been shying away from it or running from it, I think it's time to embrace it and start walking in it, walking in your purpose. If you've been the person who maybe has shied away and decided, I don't want to go this path, I'm not thinking this is it for me, and you decide to walk in someone else's purpose or someone else's anointing or calling, you better come back, get back to your lane, stay in your lane, and begin to walk in your purpose where He's laid the path that He has laid out for you, because your gifts are specifically geared towards you being successful in your own lane. You can't use your own gift or gifts to to achieve somebody else's purpose, because that's not for them. It's not your particular gifts are unique to your own purpose. So we need to remember that. So hopefully you've gotten a few things, a few nuggets that you can run with, things that you can reflect on. Hopefully this could be some great conversation starters for you and friends as well. But whatever it is, just remember that you're important. Remember that God has a plan and a purpose for you. God has given you gifts that you need to use in the service of all others and ultimately to His glory. So always remember that. Never forget that. I want to thank you all so much for coming on again. Like I said last week, kind of still trying to navigate around the how the show is going to run going forward, but yes, good nuggets better than McDonald's. That's a good one. So still trying to figure. I'm going to be trying to see how to revamp the timing of the show. It might, at some point just be a morning show, just so that way I can also play mommy later in the day. But I will communicate that to you, like the plans going forward, as as soon as they unfold and as soon as everything is set in stone. And you all know that shortly. So again, thank you all so much for coming on. I really appreciate you all. Rev, thank you for coming. Akil, I thank you. Sister Marcia, thank you. Sister Marcia, thank you. Brother Gary, thank you for coming on. Yay, Sister Blosset, Joylet, thank you all so much for coming on. If I missed you, I apologize. It's kind of hard to tell who's on, but I appreciate you all for coming on tonight. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your a wonderful night, a great rest of your week. Join us tomorrow for our morning devotion. We're going to be in His presence from 6:30 to 7:30 tomorrow morning. So again, thank you all so much for coming on. Annie, I think I saw you somewhere. Thank you for coming on as well. So taking us out tonight, battle belongs to you. Let us remember that the battle is always God's. It's not ours to always stand. Whatever you're going through, just know that He is fighting for you. Just sit back, relax, and let God do what He does best. Thank you all so much. God bless you. Have a wonderful, wonderful night. Take care.
The battle, you see my victory. When all I see is the mountain, you see a mountain moved. And as I walk through the shadow, your love surrounds me. There's nothing to fear now, for nothing impossible for you.